Okay, good evening and welcome back, friends, fam, foes, to another Stock Bala trading video. Today we had some really big developments in the mid-cap space, guys. I just felt the need to update you all. I think these are two really big situations, and personally they motivated me to put six figures of my own hard-earned capital into to bet on. The first situation involves the quantum computing space. We're going to model this one based off ticker QBTS, and the way I chose this is sort of touching on some of the stuff I've covered in past videos. It's a relative leader. I let the tape do the DD for me in these types of situations, and what I noticed in the past is that QBTS tends to be up a higher percentage on days where quantum is green and down less on those red days for quantum. So I figured this is a good vehicle to bet on the sector. Like I always say, the trade's either going to work or not, so it's just about finding the right vessel and taking the amount of risk that you're willing to take. So I know a lot of you guys have been probably following along on this quantum computing saga ever since last fall, but many will remember that these had pretty legendary runs. You had tickers like QBTS start under $1, and it ended up hitting almost $12 within a few months. So for anyone who had conviction and held, obviously some life-changing money was made, but then there was a bump in the road, as we see here. Big gap down on January 8th when the NVIDIA CEO said that quantum computing was likely decades out, which, in short form basically means he was calling it a bubble. So I believe this happened the evening of the 7th, and we saw this big gap down across the board. If you pull up any other charts, like a QUBT, for example, you're going to see basically an identical drop. This was just decimated, and in the coming days ended up trading below $4. So now we're seeing some strength, some movement back up, and we're starting to see why. So yesterday, really key development coming out from Microsoft. They have this new Majorana chip, which is supposed to be able to provide a real use case in terms of profitability in years versus decades. So again, these are the situations we look for, guys. We're talking orders of magnitude difference. And obviously the NVIDIA CEO is probably the most relevant guy in the stock universe right now. NVIDIA was a leader in terms of pulling our entire indexes and macro in general out of the bear market. But hey, Microsoft is pretty well respected in their own right, as everyone knows. So when they speak, people are going to listen too, and they are saying that they're only years out versus decades. So to me, this is a tremendous lifeline for the entire quantum computing sector. Basically it's going to cast doubt on anyone who was betting that this was a bubble. And, in a perfect world, I would say this should revisit those highs. Obviously, with the kind of size that I have in this, I'm sure I'll be taking some degree of profit on smaller moves. But I do really believe in this, and I do think that it's not out of the realm of possibilities, especially in the medium to long term, to see this revisit the highs, especially if it stays on trend. So that's the first trade, QBTS. Take it if you find it compelling. I do think it should be a pretty big deal for the small cap market in general because these quantum names were such leaders prior. So if you do feel sort of bullish about the small cap environment this year or in the next few months, I would definitely recommend taking a closer look at this, sort of a bet the leader if you're going to bet the sympathies type of logic. But that's trade number one, QBTS. Okay. Trade number two. Now this one's really interesting, guys. The ticker is MVIS, and we have a pretty considerable short interest for a nice sized mid cap name here, floating around a $500 million market cap right now. So this to me is I had some fun tonight. I went down the rabbit hole. It's a veritable rabbit hole of DD on Reddit right now with this company, guys. Before I get into it, I really think this is a meme worthy situation. It's a total long shot, but I could see somebody like Roaring Kitty coming into this and taking an interest in this, and he could use something a little bit different, I think. And people would love this. This could really be the start of a new small cap cycle. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but for now, I just recommend if you check out this Palmer Luckey thread, MVIS. It's just an extremely interesting rabbit hole to go down. There's all types of speculation, but basically where it starts is this guy Palmer Luckey posted positively about MVIS. He also reposted this old post about Microvision and their technology. And basically he's coming out as a big believer in their technology. Now, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with Palmer Luckey, he's a fairly big wheel out there. He's the founder of this Anduril, which is, for anyone who's not familiar with them, they're a pretty major private startup right now, or private company right now. They did just recently, so their first valuation was something like, I want to say here, $14 billion. They did $1.5 billion raise, and now they have a new funding round at double the market cap, $28 billion. So they should be sitting on a lot of cash. You have some pretty big names involved with this in terms of the people who are investing in Anduril. So definitely worth looking into this company if you're not familiar, but they are pretty key in the tech space right now. There's all sorts of speculation under this post as to why Mr. Luckey may have done this or what his motivation was. Some will say that it's maybe they're looking for some kind of a buyout. And you might be asking yourself, why would a guy who is involved with the company looking to buy a target possibly do something that could aid the share price? And, this guy is saying it's sort of a meet in the middle type situation where it's an easier sell to both shareholders because Microvision management still has price targets out at $12 and such, which obviously might not be realistic, but maybe they would go for something a little bit closer to the middle of that in terms of a buyout offer. To me, that sounds a little far-fetched, but stranger things have happened. I've seen all sorts of other speculation, in terms of this is another really key. And all this stuff, guys, what's key about this is all this stuff's really, really recent. This article's a week old. This new raise and all this new flush with cash funding that they're going to get, this is only a couple weeks old for this article. So this is the same guy, Palmer Luckey, talking about a $22 billion Army contract for high-tech goggles, which is interesting. Microvision could perhaps be the tech that would be involved with this. So whether they're looking to buy them out or perhaps just become a customer of theirs in terms of partnering up or just a straight customer relationship for manufacturing, the plot definitely thickens here for a little sub $500 million company when we're starting to talk about legit contracts like this. So I even saw something about a reverse merger, maybe as a way for Anduril to go public. I don't know, guys. You can go deep down the rabbit hole with this thread if you're the kind of person that likes this kind of tinfoil hat due diligence, which I certainly am. I think you'll really enjoy this. But to me, it's a hell of a compelling story on a stock that's just the right size to be believable, but with plenty of short interest. And if you look at the tape and the chart and the price action and the way this thing is building, this story definitely looks to be getting found. But I still think we're very, very early, and I was willing to take a pretty considerable bet on this name too. So those are my two trades for the night. I hope you guys found this entertaining. I know I didn't do a ton of education in this video, but as always, I hope you can learn by seeing me sort of do here. And if you're compelled by these two situations, then I certainly urge you to ride with me, and I hope that we can make a little money together. So everybody have a good night, and I enjoyed making the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'm sure we'll touch base soon. All right, deuces.